All right, so I need to address this because, yeah, I'm seeing some of my JJ crowd drop like flies as far as seriously understanding where I'm coming from. And I already kind of knew it, that this was going to be very difficult for a lot of my JJ crowd, but I want to read this to you so you can understand where I'm coming from, why words matter. And there are so many layers of religions and politics and scientific dogmas that, that will honor the death process. Okay? So this person who was in my JJ crowd world, not anymore, because I've now put a boundary down, took them out of the group, block them from that page. If they go on my other page, I'll, disable their comments. But there's no need for the back and forth if there is resistance to my information. And I can detect resistance because I can see somebody justifying and saying, okay, well, I'm blood type O, and okay, so big fucking deal. I'm blood type O, but I went through some hell to now fluctuate with the environment. I went through a lot of hell, and I've also increased my intelligence and increase my adaptability to this high frequency environment. And I do not speak in the conversation that I'm going to pass away someday, okay, or ascend. And I've seen that word in the New Age energy healing world. I've seen that in the Jesus Christ, Christianity world. I've seen that in so many worlds, the whole ascension. And so when she says, I'm not going anywhere but ascension, because she's saying, well, I'm blood type O, and that's the diet that I eat. I'm like, okay, but you also have to pull out the antigen antibody programming. You have to also get sick and release the demons and fluctuate, or you will become a died suddenly type of situation. Because yes, there are people who are blood type O who are also dying suddenly. Okay? It's not that blood type O are like the end all be all and that's it. They're immune to death. That's not the case. I'm just saying that it's a better possibility. But is it really better? Well, I mean, my situation is not as bad as other people's situations. I still went through hell, but I'm an O positive. But I was also obese and I went through some hell. And so if that person who was O positive is not going through the hell that I went through, on some level, and they're buying into the ascension and saying, okay, your mind is what the heal. What is it? Don't forget the power of your mind in healing. Well, if you're already believing in ascension, which is, what is that? It's basically death. I'm not going to fly away. I'm alive. You see me flying away? So when someone says, so this is the thing, this is the power of the mind and the verbiage and the word, right? When you're saying the mind is healing and you're believing in death, you see the conflict. So what is ascension? Rise, rising, ascent, climb, mounting, soar, ascending, climbing, escalating, flying, scaling, soaring, surmounting, towering, moving upwards, going up, moving up, traveling up, lift, ascendance, levitation, lift off, upward movement, launch, elevation, hike, spring, blast off, take off, the resurrection, ascension of Jesus Christ. So she's not hiking. So she's not talking about that. She's not talking about levitating, moving up, traveling up. What the hell does that mean? That's still vague and it's left to interpretation. Do you see these words with the word ascension is left to interpretation? It could be like something like a Buddhist monk who's mummifying himself, literally like starving himself. Or you have someone who doesn't want to change, who realizes that getting sick is the answer and they don't want to get sick. And they also, know that if they don't want to change, that death is imminent at some point. And so what do? They adopt the belief system of ascension, of the rapture. And that's also in the New Age cult movement that was born out of the 1960s and 1970s, with all the Hare Krishna and then all the energy healing people with all their rife machines and crystals and whatever else, with all their herbs and their extracts and their supplements, are against the different therapies. And that was all a programming that set them up to accept passing away at some point when all the conditions are right. And so there's no need for me to be back and forth. I mean, I gave her some of my time, but when I post blood type A and B, you need to gain some weight, because that's one side of the world. The other side of the world, the people who are obese need to lose some weight. Okay? But when you are morbidly obese or very obese, that's a lot to deal with. I've seen one end where someone's in hospice and they're really emaciated, so they don't have enough life in them to really gain the substance. And then there are people there was another person that was in hospice palliative care that was morbidly obese, and she had a hard time getting from that point of view. And so then on those two ends, when you're in hospice, morbidly obese and completely emaciated, it's going to be very difficult to pull yourself out of that grave. And so then who am I trying to target? Are those like maybe her that may have the chance, but she already gave up. Her words already said that she's given up. And I understand if you have a partner and people in your life that don't want you to change, that don't want you to feel the energy, and you have a certain lifestyle that you are upholding, and you don't really care if you pass away, and you've already bought into a religion, then yeah, you're not going to adopt this way of doing things. You're not going to even look at my information as anything. You're going to think that everything I'm saying you're already doing, and you're going to end up being, enlightened on some level. Okay. I mean, is death the end of your body existing? Is that the end? In this world, yes, it is. In this world, yes, it is. But then, of course, that frequencies, we can raise the dead through devices by tapping, but then you don't even know who you're getting because the dead are so numerous. You don't know which voice you're getting and who it is. And so what's the point in using devices to talk to the dead when they've gone to the other side? And who knows what that other side is? And so I would rather know what's going on here. I'd rather change my lifestyle, change my belief system, deal with the fluctuating conditions and adapt and evolve and feel whatever I got to feel and take on new information physiologically, intellectually, physiologically, intelligently, all that stuff. And I'm not buying into the death programming. But yeah, Ascension is the death programming. All the religions that say, okay, it's all about dying and reproducing, it's all the death programming. Yeah, you don't belong in my world, because I'm releasing that programming. And see, that's where the deception is. If you still believe people should die someday, if you have given up, just say you fucking given up. But people don't want to say that, right? Because if they said, well, I've given up and now I believe in death and there's more to the world that I live in over there, the grass is greener over there in the upside down or in the microbial world. Okay. But why did the microbial world turn into then this infrastructure, turn into humanity with animals and plants? If the microbial world was so much, much better. No, the microbial world wanted to evolve. Or they'd stayed microbes. We would all be microbes, fighting it out with each other. That's why the system is releasing so many different types of people who are intolerant, who are violent, who are petty, who are unevolving, and they're like, okay, even though Earth could probably handle all of us, what's the quality of life when you have to keep defending yourself against some warring faction that's trying to take your resources? When you have to completely reinforce your security systems because you're afraid of the dude down the street that's trying to take your resources, trying to steal a bike or steal food from your house. Okay? So even though you can grow life on Earth, what kind of quality of life? Even though a person is still alive, but they are wheelchair ridden, bedridden, and they have sores all over their body, yeah, life is important, but what kind of quality of fucking life? That's the issue. It's the quality of life. Life in general, yeah, I mean, that's another thing that I have to realize, is that it's not just life, it's the quality of life. And when you're bringing life into this world that's taking away life from somebody else, or taking away resources from somebody else, or making somebody else's quality of life miserable, then do we have to question what kind of life are we bringing? And is just across the board, life important? Well, no. Not when the quality of life fucking sucks. Okay? And so I respect people that realize that they don't have what it takes. But don't tell me that you understand where I'm coming from. Don't lie to my face. You don't even have to tell me you've given up. Just disappear out of my world. Don't say anything. There's nothing you don't need to convert me. You have chosen your path. Okay. Fucking own up to it. But there's no reason to try to convert me into your world. Because I don't believe in ascension. Just as much as you don't believe in indefinite life or want to go through the process of it. And so if that's where we stand, then go over there. Leave me the fuck alone. I'll leave you alone. The only reason why I react to you is because you have initiated conversation with me. If you don't initiate conversation with me, I would not even know you existed or even want to convert you into my world. I don't. That's why I stay on my Facebook. I stay off people's Facebooks unless they have already professed that they understand where I'm coming from and I can contribute more to their world. So yeah, the ascension world is also the new age death programming world. And that's fine because that's how the system is able to control the population, is through the belief systems. And yeah, it's difficult. It is difficult to evolve. And so it's easier to have a belief system to justify your belief system. So that way you not changing, it's okay. That way you can feel justified that it's okay not to change. It's okay just to be the same way and do whatever, and then just accept that at some point, yeah, you will not survive a change in the frequency. And I get that too. And so, me explaining this is my own challenge. But don't forget the power of your mind in healing. I'm not going anywhere but ascension. Healing is a perception. Healing is, you could use a cure to heal and you would still die anyways. So is healing really, you have to explain. That's the thing. The word heal is another thing like programming. It's not very specific. It's left to interpretation. Ascension is, that's what I say. Ascension, heal, and programming are non-specific words that really say nothing. Well, actually they say stuff. Not really. It's all left to interpretation. And so the word, and this is another proof how words are used to, how words say nothing but say everything. The word ascension and healing like programming are non-specific words left up to interpretation. And if you cannot be specific, then you have been programmed to pass away and justify it. And justify it. And so if feeling no pain means that you're healed, then death is basically your ultimate outcome. And so that's the thing about the intelligence of Hydra, is they know how to program each other to self-destruct or to promote life. That's why you have to be very careful of manipulation from people, and you have to be very extremely specific. And those who are not specific, who are using fancy schmancy words like ascension or healing, they have been programmed to pass away. It will take an extremely intelligent person to be specific in their intent, to be specific in even how they describe what intellect is and intelligence. Because even a person with an IQ of like 60 or 70 is intelligent relative to somebody who has an IQ of 5. And so if you have an IQ of 170, that's intelligence. But maybe someone who has an IQ of, of 80 or 50 may be very good at one specific thing that is far beyond someone who has an intelligent IQ level of 170. Okay, intelligence quotients are all based upon the programming and what the programming is meant to do and why. And so even then I have to explain what fucking intelligence is. And so, yeah, so you see the layers and layers and layers. And I have to talk about this because I have to even hear it myself. Because the word intelligence is also not very fucking specific. It's all relative. See, Einstein, it's all relative. Everything is relative. There are those who set a precedent, and then everything is based upon that precedent. And so then so it's like the bar. You raise the bar, you lower the bar. When you raise the bar, then you set a different precedent. When you lower the bar, you set another precedent. And so then everything's relative to whatever precedent you set. So if they set a precedent that people are supposed to die someday, then the words around it will be ascension, healing, remedies, surgeries, blah, blah, blah. And then that all leads to the intelligence of self-destruct, keeping the balance. And so there's a different intelligence called life, indefinite life. It's not the same intelligence as promoting death, but if you're going to make a differentiation that life is the energy, well, now here's the thing, energy, life, but then this Hydra. Do you want to be in a meat suit, or do you want to be flying around like a freaking single-celled Hydra that's projecting an energetic image if it's given the opportunity? Because when you think about it, when I was looking at this camera outside through the Ring, because there are people talking about, they're seeing kids that are trying to open up the door and the Ring doorbell and everything, and I'm looking and I'm seeing, like, I guess it's raining or some kind of fog, but I see all these little white dots that are going this way. Yeah, fog, dust, it could be anything, rain. But that's what you are competing with. When you have 12.9 billion or 7.9 billion people, that is so much less than all of the Hydra that are in the water, that are in the air, that are in the streams. So as a human, you are actually special, that you are given this meat suit, this life suit, relative to those that are single-celled organisms, an energy that's in a tiny microscopic thing that's floating around like a freaking bauble. You're now with the infinite amounts of energies that are out there. And you think that's better, competing on that level of numbers, the sheer numbers of all of that, all of those little dust particles and microbes? You think that's better than being in this meat suit? Increasing your intelligence as far as your physiological intelligence and your intellectual intelligence? You think that's better out there? That's what people are saying when they're like, oh yeah, don't forget the power of healing and dying, and ascending and becoming now what? A microscopic Hydra that may or may not be able to project their old meat suit in a holographic form. That you have to go through electricity in order to become alive. And you have no meat suit. In my opinion, that's where I have to really be specific. In my opinion, I don't want to be competing with the exponential numbers of Hydra who are once alive and are dead and now are looking for a meat suit to inhabit. That's the fight in the body, is that people are getting, they're getting microbes from other people as well as the environment, from the dead, from years ago. And they are feeling the disease and the cancer and all that stuff, and those things are trying to take over. They're trying to take over. They want to be in this meat suit. That's like you're going back to square one to compete. Again, to be a human being or a fucking animal, I guess, if that's... But... You know, and that's the thing. So that's why I don't buy into those that are like, oh, ascension is so great. Oh yeah, dying is so great. I'll go hang out in Sirius and Pleiades and our whatever, I don't know, all the different star systems out there. Okay. But when you think about it, when you look at all the microbes in the water and you look at all the microbes in the sunbeam with all those little dust particles that are basically Hydra and entities of people and past lives, when you look at through your camera, through your Ring doorbell, and you see the rain, and that's all Hydra and all memories of people past and present and whatever, and you think competing on that type of magnitude is so much better than being a special, amazing human, because all humans are special. But when you then get disintegrated back into a single-celled organism competing to get into a body, you think that's better? Fuck no, it's not. Fuck no, it's not. And so no, I don't buy anyone that says that ascension and the afterlife and all that is better, because you look in your microscope. Look in your microscope, look in the water, look through your Ring doorbell, night camera, infrared vision, and you're seeing how much competition you have when you're fucking dead. You are now not competing on a level playing field. You are now dying, literally dying to get back into a meat suit again. And that's what the fight, the spiritual fight within people, is that they have microbes and Hydra in them that are from dead people from the past that want to take over. And that's why people feel so much crazy stuff when they're in these haunted houses and they already have predispositions and senescence going on. And so when the Hydra in the environment within the body, as well as out there, sense that there is senescence and deterioration, they're going to go and try to hijack and try to take over. Now, well, when them hijacking and taking over you, is that going to help you? Well, you know, I guess it can if you assimilate. And you take on their intelligence. And that's what's kind of going on right now, is I'm taking on everything in my environment, taking on the intelligence, and I'm keeping the predominant information that is keeping my vital organs going, but I am taking on intelligence from my environment. I'm assimilating. I'm not resisting it. And so, yeah. And so when you think about it, I've allowed those. And so when you're dead, that's what you're doing. But then when you have so many people, when you're now getting down to 500 million, which is the intention in the future, it's down to 500 million, you're going to have 6.9 billion or whatever billion less chances to be able to come back to life again in a meat suit. Because the New World Order is going to control how many humans are going to take on a human form. That you will have, maybe you'll have 500 million chances. But if there are trillions and trillions and trillions of entities out there from the past, because remember, humans have been around for thousands and thousands of years. Okay? And so you're competing against those that were way back in 18, 17, 16, 1500s, and then you are one of, there's so many. And you think that's better than being a human in your meat suit today? That's what I'm up against. That's what people don't realize. That's why I'm saying that if you're not following me, you're not going to fucking get this. If you're too worried about, you know, your other distractions and you're worried about all your religions and your politics and your scientific dogmas, just don't even bother going back and forth with me, because we're not working on the same platform. We're not. I want to cut down the competition. You want to increase the competition. You've already won when you became human. When you became human, you fucking won. Now you want to lose again and go back to frickin' square zero? That's what the number system is. It tells you you start from 0 and then you go to 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. That's all of the microbial intelligence when it's gathering a community, a collective to build infrastructure. Do you really think mankind wants to go back to Adam? No, you're not going to go back to Adam or even Eve. Why would we go back to something like that when we already have an infrastructure? Now we just got to scale it down and bring in the most adaptable, the most tolerant, the most peaceful, and make that the predominant human population. And the rest are going to have to compete to be in this kind of climate, in this kind of world. And so if you became human and you grew up and you're able to surpass your childhood demons, you fucking won. Now try to maintain it. And if you can't, then don't come into my world and try to resist or say anything that is completely the fucking opposite. Because I will detect it and you'll be gone. Recycle back into the bowels of the internet. Promoting your died suddenly or promoting your ascension bullshit. Promoting whatever religion you have that justifies passing away and not feeling shit, not wanting to change, not wanting to evolve, nothing. I don't need to hear it. I have enough of it in my world that I don't need it in my JJ crowd. Wow. If you're human, you already fucking won. So now maintain what you have. If you can't fucking maintain it, good luck. Bye.